With you today about why you don't need to be fearless. You do not catch that principle. You do not need to be fearless. All right. So you don't need to be fearless to do your big dreams. You don't need to be fearless to be your big self. You don't need to be fearless to build the empire of your soul. And let me share a couple of other things that you don't need to be. So I hear this a lot. People having what the author Tara, I think it's Tara Moore, calls false prerequisites. All right. The idea that you need to eradicate all fear, heal all your childhood wounds, get totally freaking perfectly ready, that your work, your products, your offers, your marketing, your blog, your website needs to be completely perfect, that your kids need to grow up and get out of high school, that you need your mama, literally your mama, to co sign or approve or give her blessing. All of these are what we will call false prerequisites. All right. I seem having a little technical problem here on Instagram. So let's just see if we can get that to go. Nope. All right. Oh, here we go. Sorry, guys on Facebook. All right, I might have to just come back to the Instagram people. Yeah, your work, you don't have to be fearless. People ask me all the time, like, how do you make these big moves in your life? You take your 5-year-old all the way to Portugal, you sell your house, you start this business, you buy that business, you do whatever. Someone emailed me the other day and literally was like, do you ever feel fear? Yeah, I feel fear. Maybe in this move, this Portugal move in the last 12 months of it, I felt like very gripping fear, maybe 75 times. All right. So the other thing that people are asking often is about their childhood, whatever their old trauma is that's still really active in their system. So it has begun to dawn on lots of people that your business will actually surface your old childhood wounds. I've even been hearing business coaches who I otherwise actually kind of respect, say things like, you should actually heal all of your old unworthiness and trauma before you begin a business. So they don't get all stirred up and slow you down. I'm like, are you hilarious? How about this? Find all the people who want businesses, who have successful businesses also and want to build the empires of their soul, and who also have active trauma on board. Send them to me. All right. Send them to me because this is exactly backwards. Now, y'all know I'm a spiritual contrarian, but the reality is that your empire of the soul, when you start to allow yourself to want that really deeply and to create that all in, it will begin the process of helping you, or it will continue the process of helping you heal your old fears, heal your old scarcity mindsets, heal your old unworthiness and trauma. All right. So you do not need to participate any longer after this day in this conversation in these false prerequisites. Again, you don't need to be fearless. You don't need to be ready. Your business will get you ready. Trust and believe. Your work, your products, your offers, your branding, your marketing, your logo, the name of your business, your website do not need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be the perfect time in your life. You don't need your mother or anyone else to co-sign, approve, or give you their blessing. And you most certainly do not need to heal from all of your childhood wounds and traumas before you begin building the business empire of your soul. These false prerequisites are what I think of they remind me of that old Anne Lamott quote about perfectionism, where she says perfectionism is the lie. It's the enemy of the people. It's the lie of the oppressor. And that's what I think this is too. I think all of these false prerequisites are simply the lies of your inner critic who is trying to keep you safe, trying to keep you small, trying to keep you from feeling vulnerable, trying to keep you from feeling that panic freak out moment. right? That happens when you're on the brink of your own expansion and you're experiencing that awe and exhilaration that often, so often, and Dave Rico called it unintegrated excitement that so often we read or translate or mistranslate as fear. All right. I want you to actually try the opposite. I want you to lean in the opposite direction of thinking you need these things. In fact, I invite you to try on the point of view that we held and still hold often in Silicon Valley, where I worked for many years. They called it lean startup methodology. And the idea was you never wanted to actually create the full product before you launched. You just wanted to create what we called an MVP, a minimum viable product. Just create the minimum viable product, right? And in fact, I'll take it a step further. I invite you to embrace something I call imperfectionism, which is the rule that if what you launch into the marketplace, if what you take to your clients and offer your clients is perfect and perfectly fully baked, then you actually waited too long. Okay. Now, I know that might seem like a really aggressive, like very almost masculine, toxic masculine, like move fast and break things theory. And it's not, because let me tell you what it actually is. This approach really is it's a co-creative approach. What you do when you launch just the kernel or seed of an imperfect product offer into your marketplace, bringing it to your people. Now, I'm not saying it should be crappy. It has to actually get them the transformation that you promised, right? That's the thing. If you gotta be a perfectionist about anything, don't be a perfectionist about that, but care about that. But all that branding, marketing, I say this as a career marketer, right? The name of the company, websites. I'll tell you what, I have paid thousands of dollars for beautiful long form sales pages and sales letters, and then sold twice as much or converted twice as much when I just put up a Google Doc for the same product and just like put some links in it where people could go to a checkout. Okay. Now, what you do when you do this is not be in that toxic, hard hustle grind, ship, 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 ship. What you do is you invite your ideal customers, your best fit customers, the people you love to work with and who love you, you invite them to co-create with you. All right. The people who are in my Empires of the Soul program know this because we launched that product. We enrolled people into that product last year at our annual event, and we didn't start the program until January. And I told them, guys, I know the substance of my work works because I've been doing that forever. Okay. And it like works across business types. It works across, if you want to build the Empire of the Soul, I'm the right person to help you do that. That I know. But all of the like, where the courses were going to be in Kajabi and what the formats were going to be and who was going to do which calls and which coaches were going to be on what, we were building that plane as we flew it. And we were doing it very, very transparently. And I continued to build my business very transparently with my students. I let them see, they had my new book, Aligns to Millions. They got to see that book when it was in Google Drive, when it was just a doc in Google Drive. All right. They still get to see the templates of the sales pages. They get to see the scripts of the videos. They get to know that, gosh, I hired this one book designer and I had to fire home girl and I had to hire another one. And here's what I learned in the process. They get to see and know how my team evolves and changes. They see all the behind the scenes of it. And I share that stuff with them in the interest of promoting imperfectionism, but also because it is joyful to me to co-create these containers and products for them, with them. All right. Now, the reality is, it's kind of only joyful to do that kind of co creation when you've done the inner work to be okay with, or even see it as a treasure when to be okay with receiving quote unquote negative feedback, right? For me, it's not negative feedback. They are helping me create the product, the program, the business, the transformation. They are helping me build this empire for the benefit of all of them, of me, of my children, of my employees, of them and their employees and their clients too. So I've learned over the years, when you have a lot of active trauma in your system, when you are still a perfectionist, you still may have a lot of, you might be really sensitive or fragile to receiving negative feedback or unwanted, I'll call it that, unwanted feedback or critical feedback. I don't know because it's not negative to me anymore. For years, as I was healing from my childhood trauma, I used the Louise Hay affirmation. I choose to see it as a treasure when I discover something new to release. And that's how I see feedback. I choose to see it as a treasure when one of my clients is like, hey, I'm having this issue, da 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 da. What can we do? How can we work with that? What can we do with that? And I always think of it as that. They know I have the utmost commitment, not just to selling a bunch of stuff. I have the utmost commitment, not just to running a program with a cool name and beautiful marketing materials, although it's that. I have the utmost commitment that they get the transformation that their wise inner being came to me for. All right. We are both fulfilling our sacred contracts in this relationship. I care about that the most. And so they know that if they have an issue or problem in the programs, they bring it to me and we work it. We workshop it and we workshop the whole program, sometimes the whole business as a result. So this all came up for me and I wanted to have this conversation with you because yesterday I was reading this quote by Audre Lorde, and it really landed with me as something that's very relevant to those of us who are building the empires of their soul. She wrote, "For we have been so socialized to respect fear more than our own needs for language and definition, that while we wait in silence for the final luxury of fearlessness, the weight of that silence will choke us." All right. And so I'm going to kind of give you the Tara edit on that quote for you if you are building or desire to build. If you are a coach, a consultant, an expert in your field, and any kind of an entrepreneur at all who creates any kind of beneficial transformation for your customers at all, and you desire to build the empire of your soul, this quote is for you. For we have been taught, conditioned, and programmed to respect fear more than our own needs to be who we are and create what we came here to create. That while we wait in paralysis, in playing small, in self-sabotage, in inaction for that final luxury of fearlessness, the weight of that inaction, the weight of that self-silencing, the weight of that shrinking your own dreams and desires down, the weight of you letting your inner critic win will paralyze you. And it will slowly strangle and starve out your big self and your big dreams. It will zap the life force out of them. Okay. So what I'm asking you to do is to understand that that feeling of fear is so often a mistranslation of excitement, awe, exhilaration at your own coming expansion. It's so often misinterpreted by your inner critic as something that you need to be protected from, right? It's so often a trauma response that my request of you, I implore you that when you feel that fear around some topic in your business that you're pretty sure would help you grow, I want you to do what my teacher Dave Rico taught me to do, which was to wholeheartedly engage with the subject of that fear. Get in a program about it, get in a held container about it, learn about it, dive into it, pour yourself into it, watch all the responses and reactions that come up within you, surf the wave of those energies and know that they will dissipate over time. And you don't have to back off or stop doing your expansion to make that feeling go away. It will just go away over time because all human energies do. All right, so we started with an Anne Lamott quote about perfectionism. I want to end with an Anne Lamott quote about how to do big things, because I think the other reason so many of us get paralyzed in that fear and in action is that we are trying to think through and take on and hold in our hearts and our minds and our spirits the next 25 years of action items on your big dream or your business empire. Anne Lamott tells a story about her little brother doing the California students book report, bird report, where you have to, write a report about all these birds, dozens and dozens of birds. And she says she watched this exchange happen where he was sitting at the kitchen table about to write his report and he was crying. And their father came in and said, "What's happening, dude?" And the kid said, "I haven't even started. I've had this report to work on all year and I haven't started and it's due tomorrow." And the dad said, "You know what, bud? You just got to take it bird by bird. You just got to take it bird by bird. You can't write all 100 birds at one time, but you can write that bird. You can write that bird." And you can write that next bird. So I want you to start to build a new belief infrastructure that says you don't have to know how it's all going to play out. Just take the next step, the natural next aligned feeling step. You don't have to be fearless yet. The fear will dissipate over time as you keep wiring in a new feedback system that says you can do things that cause you to feel fear. And oh, by the way, often they expand you and grow you. Queens ain't fragile. You can take the feedback. You can mine unwanted feedback for gold, for fuel. You can learn to be okay with receiving criticism. You can learn to see it as a treasure when you run into an obstacle or discover something new to release. So if you've been participating in the lie of false prerequisites, and if that has been strangling or starving your big dreams for life, the big dreams, the ones that represent the sacred contracts you came here to be and do and have and create and learn and experience before you die, the ones that the world needs you to do because they contribute to the benefit of all, I want you to know that those dreams never die. They might be a little dormant. They never die. They never go away. You can always breathe fresh life into those dreams. That's what inspiration means. I love that. To breathe in, right? Inspired. You can always catch a new inspiration and breathe fresh life into your old dreams. All right. And you can always know that divine timing is real and in your favor. So what seems like delay, maybe it's been 5 years, 10 years, 6 months, 20 years that you've been delaying moving forward on building your business empire. Even your delays benefit you. All right. So let's see. If you want my help to take action, to take inspired, aligned action, to stop waiting for fearlessness, to the final luxury of fearlessness, to stop waiting for things to be perfect, to stop waiting to be ready, to stop waiting for other people's blessing, and to start stepping into your big self and bring your business with you. Just type big self in the comments. My team and I are working on something incredible, incredibly liberating, incredibly wholeness creating, incredibly empire sparking. All right. And soon I'm going to crack open the door and just invite a couple of inner circle people into it. If you want that invite, just type big self into the comments. And you will be one of the first to know when I open the doors to this new beautiful thing. All right, y'all. I love you. I want you to keep your head up and your heart out, and I'll see you soon.